This is the Ultimate Deck Podcast, TUDS Media Takeover.
The Ultimate Deck Podcast. Need a show about outdoor living? This is where it's at.
And we're here.
Woo!
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Bryce Wilaniuk, usually sit behind the table. You've seen me on camera a few times.
Yep. I'm Kyler. I am the other producer who usually is here as well.
New producer Kyler.
Yep.
And I'm Jacob. This is my first episode. Usually I'm behind a computer.
You should move your mic just a touch closer. Those mics suck.
Okay.
I mean, they don't suck. They're pretty good.
Sure.
You just got to get close to them. Like most people,
be this close to the microphone the
yes,
entire time.
You do. You have to be you have to like almost swallow it. These are podcast brutal microphones. So, you guys, we are the TUDS Media marketing team, I would say.
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, Bryce, Kyler, and Jacob. And Shane and Wade are AWOL this week. So, we've decided to take over the podcast.
It's ours now.
That's right.
It's ours.
My favorite sound is that sound.
Mine too. That's why I keep hitting it.
Over and over and over again. It's like I score a goal every time I say something. Okay, so we're going to get, instead of doing like a rambly talk for the next 25 minutes, we figured we'd get right into the topic of today because we're marketing guys and we want to get right to the point. And the topic of today is, are you being seen? The benefits of marketing your small business. We know we're talking to a lot of contractors, and we decided that we're going to talk about our area of expertise because honestly, the three of us, like, I know I'm taking a few liberties here, but I don't really know anything about decks.
Yeah. I mean, I know as much as I've learned through like editing the podcasts.
Yeah,
watching
right.
them, but I don't know enough to talk for an hour about it.
So. You
I
can tell me about G-tape or.
I know that decks are typically in backyards.
That's typically.
They're usually made out of wood and composite.
Yes, I would say, yeah.
Is it composite or composite?
I forget. There's an American way and a Canadian way.
Composite. Anyways, so first we're going to start with what each of us does, I think.
Sounds good.
Kind of around here. So Kyler, what is your area of expertise when it comes to marketing?
So I kind of take over everything video related in terms of marketing. So I'm the person who's been running the YouTube channel, filming all the podcasts, essentially any type of commercial like video work that you need to do is what I'm here for.
Editing the dinosaur into...
Yes, and the terrible one-day turnaround videos that we've been doing. But
you call them terrible, but
they're terribly
stop being
good.
a perfectionist.
They're terribly good.
Terribly amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, just do that.
Jacob?
So I'm a developer, front end and back end. I also enjoy music production. So I've been providing a bunch of original music for Kyler's productions, and I've reworked the entire TUDS website. Now you're able to actually use the search bar and do things like find it on Google. So that's a plus.
Finding it on Google.
Yeah.
That is like probably the most underrated thing. Like most people start websites and they're like, oh, I just got to put it out there. It's like, nah, that's not how it works, right? I feel like most people miss that part when they create their company's website.
Yeah, you got to put in the extra like 20% to get your listing to as high or as close to the top as you can, because everybody is, they're going to click the first 5 options. You know,
well,
nobody's going to go to the second
page. If you're not on the first page, then your chances of having your website seen are basically null.
Yeah. I mean, even before that, most people, when they turn on their website, don't realize that you have to tell Google your website exists for it to even search for it.
Right.
Right. Anyways, that's a little later into the topic. A little foreshadowing. We're gonna start at the beginning. I guess I didn't tell you what I did.
What do you do,
I'm
Bryce?
the jack of all trades. I do a little bit of everything. Mostly a project manager. Kyler, shut up.
You said you were going to roast me every 30 minutes. So
Every 30 minutes. Okay.
Bryce walks around with a clipboard and yells into a phone.
That's right. I yell into a phone. I should be a day trader. I think I'd be better at it.
Maybe.
potentially.
Or I'd lose a lot of money.
Very quickly.
Very quickly. Exactly. So we're going to start with marketing your business. So as a contractor, the primary thing that the most people think about when they're starting their small business, you don't have to be a contractor, I guess, is like doing the job, right?
Yeah.
Doing the job is I don't want to say it's the easy part, but it is the part that most people, when they start a business, are probably the most comfortable with, right? Making that product. So how do you get your product sold? Marketing.
Yeah, marketing.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But where do you start? Right? Doesn't matter what type of business you're running. Where do you start? Where would you guys start? If you were given a client today, let's say a cake shop.
Yep.
Where would you start with them?
Basically, I'd make sure that they have clear, concise branding.
Mm-hmm.
If not, then we're either going to do some graphic design or find a graphic designer. We're probably going to make sure that they have a Facebook page. Of course, Meta is technically the overlord of the internet right now, as
pretty
well
much
as Google.
need to.
So need a Facebook page. You need a solid website. If they don't have a solid website, then we're going to do a redesign, or we're going to totally develop one from the ground up, and then try and go for that good indexing.
Indexing, yes.
Mm-hmm.
See, Jacob's talking from his area of expertise.
Yeah.
His website background. I would say before all of that, you want to figure out with who you want your customer to be.
Yeah, you want to figure out your audience before you start doing
anything, even branding. I would recommend you look at who you want your customer to be. Sometimes they go hand in hand, right? Sometimes you've already done your branding because the person that you really want to sell to is someone like you. So you just pick shit you like.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you're making stuff for a vehicle shop, you're making content that looks like it would fit in a vehicle shop for a cake shop. I mean, it's not really going to hit the right audience,
Right.
You have to find out who you want to advertise to, who you want to get your stuff out to. And if you figure that out from the get-go, I mean, things get pretty easy from there. So
to an extent, you got to figure out who you are too,
Yeah.
and what your general vision is.
Yeah, I would agree. I think figuring out your product, these are all obvious things. It's not like we're not blowing people's minds here.
Not spitting any game, but
exactly.
Yeah.
But that being said, I know even with myself, I need to hear something over and 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 over again before it actually I actually even do it for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But right, it just takes some time. So I would say when you're thinking about your customer base, sometimes you can think if you've been established for a little while, let's say with a deck contractor, for example, you can look at who are the clients that you want to work with, right? And I would market towards them. I would say that's your audience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The other way you can go about it is if you've been established for a little while and you have some of these other channels up and running, like your website or your social media pages or YouTube, you can dive into a lot of the free metrics out there to help you get the demographic that you're trying to reach.
Cannot say it enough. One of the most important tools you have in your toolbox is your analytics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And analytics are they're awesome. I think they're hard to read for a lot of people. It's just numbers.
Yeah, numbers and a chart.
Yeah.
And no real indication what those charts mean.
Yeah, you have to make a lot of like, you know, huge leaps in your imagination. But I think you, by defining your audience through that way, I would start broadly and then use those analytics to kind of like really
Hone in on what you need to do.
tighten it up.
Yeah.
But again, it is the most important first step. And once your audience is defined, it is way easier to do the rest of this stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's easier to brand. It's easier to it's easier to buy ads, for one thing.
Yeah.
When you're buying ads on Facebook, having a clearly defined audience is going to save you a ton of money right off the bat, because you're only gonna market towards the people that are most likely to buy or click on the stuff that you put out there, right?
So then in turn, you can use your analytics to see who your main demographics are, and then in turn target those demographics.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But I do want to stress that even after you've defined your audience, you move on to like deciding what type of marketing you want to use. But there is no like one size fits all.
Right.
You know, there's no one size fits all. There's no, magic bullet.
Yeah.
No magic bullet. No anything like that for marketing. But I would say the only thing that you have to do on a regular basis is through consistency and effort. That's how your marketing is going to work, unless you have an absolute crap ton of money.
Yeah.
But even then, that doesn't always work.
Exactly.
We've seen brands that have put tons of money out there and nothing comes out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Crystal Pepsi.
You know what? I kind of like Crystal
New
Pepsi.
Coke.
Me too. Crystal Pepsi is so good.
New Coke didn't work.
Yeah.
They put a ton of money into that.
They had to roll it back.
Yeah.
Shows you what they know.
But now it's a little bit of a cult classic, so maybe it did work.
That to be said about a lot of things, though.
Yes, that's true.
Everything nowadays is just nostalgia bait.
Yes, I agree.
If anything fails, there's definitely like 10 people who liked it enough to consider it a cult classic.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So with consistency and effort, you have the ability to make your business grow, obviously. But it's the same goes with marketing.
Yeah, essentially, like, we're going to figure out, we'll talk about the different types of marketing and the different, I guess, we'll call them avatars. So when we refer to an avatar, we're essentially, it's an example, basically, of the type of people that may be interested in certain types of marketing. So we have a few that we're going to go through here. And if you relate to those, I mean, you kind of have a good idea of what you want to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then through those, you can kind of decide probably what kind of marketing that you're going to most likely use and stick to.
Yeah.
Right. Because again, consistency is probably one of the biggest drivers in any of this marketing.
Exactly.
So out of the 4 characteristics, 4, is that what we're going with?
I think it's 3, but
Freelancer.
okay.
Is that a characteristic?
Yeah.
Okay. Freelancer. So does someone want to take a crack at what a freelancer is?
So a freelancer is essentially somebody who doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of money to invest into marketing, but they have a whole lot of time because they're really driven to do what they're doing freelance, right? So those are the types of people that will be more interested in being more hands-on, we'll say. So when I say hands-on, I mean they want to be a part of everything that they can be because they don't have as much money as some of the other brands, but they want to still be able to compete. So when we talk about consistency, honestly, the freelancers and like the people who don't have a whole lot of money but have a whole lot of time usually end up being more successful or as successful as some of the larger budgets, right? Because they just have that time input.
Yeah, and I would say even with freelancers and new business owners, which is the next kind of category, they almost do it out of necessity.
Yeah, because
right?
like
you don't have a choice.
Yeah, you don't have how much you don't have like $5,000 or $6,000 to spend on like hiring somebody to do all this stuff for you. So like you want to get your hands dirty as much as you can to save money until you can get to the point where you can hire somebody, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that because, like I said, like 9 times out of 10, they're just as successful as somebody with a bigger marketing budget, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like, they're not going to be able to compete with like a giant corporation or anything because, like, obviously, when you have hundreds of thousands of dollars to throw towards marketing, you're never going to have to worry about the little guy. But in terms of like local marketing and like small business marketing, like investing your time is as important as anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Just as valuable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got freelancer. They have no money and no time. Really?
Lots of time.
Do
No
they?
money,
You think,
lots of time.
Do you think they have lots of time
I think freelancers have lots of time.
to do marketing though?
They're trying to freelance though for the most part, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's my only like
I'd say
thing on this one.
Yeah, like I get what you're saying where like they might not have as much time, but realistically everything they're doing is marketing themselves.
It's true.
You know, like
I
when
agree.
you're freelancing, you have to market, otherwise you're not going to get your next job, right?
Mhm.
So
Okay.
if you spend twice as much time marketing as you do working, I mean, you're going to get more work in the end of it.
Right.
Not to mention that freelancers have a closer relationship with their actual work. So therefore, some of the marketing content comes a little bit easier,
Right.
Especially writing content for yourself, creating content for yourself, making those social media posts. If you have a better understanding of what you're doing on your day-to-day,
Yeah.
then that kind of comes as second nature.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're an expert at
Yeah.
What you
that,
do,
at what you
essentially,
do.
Yeah. And then I'd say, so the next one after that would be like a new business owner. So
Yep.
just started a new business, don't necessarily have a whole lot of time, but they have a bit of money put aside that they can use to save themselves some hassle, you know, because when you're running a business, there's a lot of stuff that you got to do. And a lot of people tend to neglect the marketing aspect of it because, like, realistically, some people just don't see the value in marketing. And, like, it's always tough to try and convince people that they need to do marketing if they're really stuck in their ways and don't want to do it. And, oh, I don't have time. Oh, this is too much work. Oh, I can't do all this on my own. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to do it on your own, you know, like.
Do you think people? One of the problems that people have with marketing is because it's not like super tangible. Like
Yeah.
you can't hold your marketing in your hands.
You can't hold your analytics, you know, like.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing too is it takes a long time to get started, you know, like you can't just do it one day a week, you know, like you have to do it every single day in order to be consistent and get the growth that you're looking for, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't just happen overnight either, you know, like it probably takes, I want to say, a month or two or better.
I would say years.
Years. Yeah.
I think
To
it's
get
a
started, at
yearly.
least.
To get started, it's not hard, yeah, I think we'll get into a few more of these.
In fact, like one of the worst things I think you could do is start gaining followers, start your media following online, and start advertising yourself, and then give up and stop posting and leave all of your newly engaged followers without content and without you in their feeds.
Right, because when you do that, the algorithm usually picks up on that, and then it's harder for you in the future to, because number one, you have to go in and clean out all your, like, we'll call them dead followers who aren't interested in following you anymore, who have you forgotten, essentially, who've forgotten you. And so, like, when you go back after taking a break, it's just 10 times harder.
It's very like a Day of the Dead, right? Like that's the way like Facebook and Instagram seem to operate.
Yeah.
It's like if someone doesn't remember you, you just disappear.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah.
Whoa. And then the next person we're going to talk about is someone that has no time because their business has gotten off the ground, right? Gotten off the ground. It's becoming more established. I would probably say like you're like a medium to
Yeah.
like large,
you
like
have
you're a
few
local
employees,
business.
you know.
Yeah, you're a local business. But you have more money to throw at this thing.
Yeah.
I think this is the best spot to be in my opinion. If you want to be engaged in your social media and your marketing efforts, you can be, but you don't have to be because you got some money to throw at it now. There are lots of ways to market yourself at this point.
Yeah, exactly. You have a little bit more freedom in the fact that you don't have to commit as much time as you would normally have to if you were a smaller business, right? So you can either go for the quality approach. If you want to be like hands-on yourself, you can like spend more time making some content and then kind of pass off the more like frequent posts to whoever you hire. So like you don't have to do as much, but you can still make just as high quality stuff, right? And then like once you have that, the growth will show, you know, like spending more time to make stuff without having to be distracted with all the like little stuff like the social posts and like the little like editing things and all the other little things that you'd have to do to market your business.
Exactly.
Yeah. You just having more time is always better, you know?
More time is always better.
Yeah.
I agree. And then the last, probably nobody really fits into this one that we're talking to right now. Some of you might, who knows? Large enterprise corporations, they got lots of money. They usually have their own in-house marketing team, but that doesn't stop them from pushing this shit out, right? Getting other people to do it for them.
Yep.
They're big. They're big business, right? So now that you've kind of put yourself into one of these categories, I think these are 4 easy categories to get into.
Yep.
So we got freelancer, we got new business owner, which they have lots of time, small budget. We have an established business owner, which is no time, large budget. We kind of like skipped like the transition stage there in between those two because that can happen too. But it's pretty obvious what you need to do in those spots, I think, or corporation at the end. So now that you've fit yourself into one of them, what type of marketing should you do? As we'll start at the top as freelancers, we know what kind of marketing they should do, I think, right?
Yeah.
This one's pretty simple. You only have a few options. You don't have any money to put at it.
Right.
So it's social media, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Social media, be consistent with your posts and be consistent with your voicing. That's one of the most important things. Don't have your tone of posting be all over the place and all across the board.
Just try and keep your posts like to a consistent schedule and make your posts visually recognizable as your own.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
Exactly.
Like whether that's adding your logo or sticking to a specific color palette or whatever, you know, just spend the little extra time that it would take from just taking a photo and actually like go in and edit it and do something to it that makes it your own and recognizable as your own. That's the biggest thing.
Even the language you're using, are you being casual? Are you speaking to your audience in a professional way? That's definitely something to note.
Well, and for most people out there, like your iPhone, as a freelancer or even a small business owner, super good for taking pictures.
Yeah.
iPhone, Android, whatever you use, whatever your flavor, your smartphone, all great at taking pictures nowadays. And on top of that, there are tons of free tools out there to edit. You don't have to have Photoshop.
Yeah.
You don't have to have Lightroom. You don't have to have any of the billion other frickin'
Expensive
pieces of
Adobe
software.
Suite stuff.
Yeah.
We're in Canada. Photoshop is free through browser right now.
Oh, look at that.
There you go.
Use that affiliate code free. No, there's no affiliate code.
Not yet.
We have an affiliate code for Sparkling Gatorade.
Sparkling Gatorade. It's my new
official-
creation.
The official drink of TUDS Media.
So I like, even for just simple tools to use to edit your photos, I'm a big fan of Canva. I think Canva has just enough in it.
Yeah, it's not really like, you can't really do anything that crazy, but like in reality, like social media posts, they don't need to be like horrendously crazy, you know?
And you know, sometimes those like crappy clip art things,
Yeah.
sometimes they look good. You know, I'm not saying
Agree
they
to
have
disagree.
to. Yes,
it's a certain
Kyler's
feel.
Kyler's like all quality guy.
Yes.
I'm somewhere in between.
Even like on your smartphone, like we were talking, like there's so many different apps. Like I know for photo editing, you can get Lightroom on your phone. You can also get like Snapseed.
Snapseed is by far the best photo editing app on any phone.
It is crazy how much you can do in such a in a free app, you know. And then like as for video editing and stuff, like every social media platform has some kind of video editor in it now, you know, like whether that's TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever. It doesn't really matter what you use. It just matters that you like put in a little time and edit it and take the time to cut out parts where you flub up or anything like that.
So in terms of social media, what kind of strategy do you guys recommend? Do you guys think that we should be everywhere, or do you guys think that we should stick to one, maybe two platforms? Because right now there's like for social media, the big ones, we got LinkedIn, we got Pinterest, we got Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, which are kind of the same thing nowadays anyway.
Yeah, Meta is essentially the same.
And then YouTube, but YouTube's a different beast in my opinion.
Yeah.
It probably needs to be tackled a little differently in terms of social media. So it all really comes down to what kind of effort you want to put in and what you're comfortable talking on.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm a proponent of being on every platform.
Okay.
But I do also see the value in being on specific platforms, you know,
Right.
because like, say you're doing something a little more like professional, like you're not obviously going to put your professional stuff, like where you're doing like corporate video or something on Pinterest, right? Because that's not that client base.
But what if they see it? That's the thing everybody always says, right?
That's why I say it's good to be on it. But at the same time, it's like, if you're just flooding everywhere, like, yes, you're getting views, but it's like, what kind of retention and what kind of
quality?
Yeah.
The quality views.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I feel like as long as you're keeping your general ID and general concept of who you are visible through all of your posts and across the board.
Yeah, just pull it up a bit. Just
I'm used to higher end mics.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sorry, Jacob.
Jeez, Jacob.
We're running a pretty tight ship here. We can't all have the
Is
share.
this better?
Oh, wow. Jacob's here. Jacob's in the
Hello.
building.
Sorry,
yeah,
didn't mean to interrupt you.
go ahead,
That's
Jacob.
fine. No, I'm a proponent that you should be posting everywhere, but don't take the time to directly post everywhere. Use a social media coordination app like Hootsuite or like Later or TweetDeck.
Later, TweetDeck. Yep.
Those are all good options. And then if you want to focus specifically on one platform, then guess what? You have all of your posts scheduled. You can just create content specifically for that platform as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, I would say that a worthy investment is a scheduler.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Canva offers stuff like that. Later, like you said. I mean, even a calendar is pretty freaking good for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Every phone has one.
Yeah. So,
What do you think, Bryce?
I would say I would attempt to make posts for one of them and then push them out onto other things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best strategy, and it's going to get you the highest quality posts with the least amount of effort.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of those social medias do require quite a bit of effort though.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like TikTok, you gotta post every like 30 freaking seconds, it feels like.
Yeah, like there's people, I've seen videos recently talking about how they've grown on TikTok, but in order to grow, they're posting like 75 to 100 videos a day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like
It's insane.
the amount of time input for that type of like scheduling is nuts. Like,
Yep.
yeah, it works, but like it's not feasible for anybody other than a media company to do, you know?
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, if you're interested in something like that, then yes, you got to realize that you can't do it yourself because it just takes too much time and you don't have the time, you know?
It's a full-time job and you already work your full-time job.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
It's a full-time job. That's why we get paid to do it.
Correct. That's why there's also 3 of us.
Yes. It's not a 1-person full-time job. It's a 3-person full-time job. Would you guys recommend having a website as a freelancer?
Yes.
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 Definitely.
You need, no matter what you're doing, you need some kind of portfolio somewhere for people to find what you're doing. And I think as a freelancer, it's too hard to just get by on just having a Facebook page nowadays.
That's fair.
It's imperative. You can't do search engine optimization for a Facebook page.
Exactly. You're not going to show up unless you have a
Screw
website.
you, Facebook.
Yeah, whatever, Meta. We don't
Get out of
even want
here,
it.
Mark
home.
Zuckerberg.
Dumb haircut.
Oh, shit. Okay, so there we go. I was a little late on that, but
It's delayed.
delayed effect. You just shorten it up in post.
Making a bunch of work for me, Bryce.
Yeah, well, you didn't want to go live, so.
Hey, man. Last time I tried to go live, we were 45 minutes late, and we lost all our viewers. So,
It's because we had Shane and Wade.
yeah.
All 3 of us showed up today on time.
Well,
Minutes late is not hours late.
what time did I say we should start? What time is it now?
You said around 12:30.
Now it is.
We've been going for 30
32
minutes.
minutes in.
What time did we start?
32 minutes ago. So like 12:45-ish.
12:45. So we were 15 minutes late. That's better.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we've just really scratched the surface. I didn't realize how long we were going to talk about a lot of this stuff. New business owners, I think they have the best chance at doing the most impactful marketing because they can really touch a lot of places, right? Having a website, I would say, super important at that point in time. Very professional looking website. Can be fun, though. You already know your audience, I hope.
Right.
At this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
This is the people that I would recommend getting into more video.
Right. Yeah, like
Yeah.
video is such a powerful tool in
Yeah.
today's day and age. Like, and not enough. I mean, I'm biased, obviously, because that's what I do. I do video, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I still think that not enough people do video, and not enough people do video well. You know, like everybody has a smartphone. Everybody can go do it, but it's really when you go in and you clean it up and you like take the time to edit it properly so that you're up to date with like the current trends and all the viewer retention stuff and all that mumbo jumbo that nobody wants to learn except for me. It makes such a huge difference in your metrics and your like brand awareness, you know?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Definitely.
Video is super powerful. That's why TikTok kind of like I think really took off
That's
for a
why,
couple reasons.
That's
but
why Instagram's trying to become TikTok.
yeah, I think Instagram should go back to being Instagram.
Yeah,
But
good luck with that.
for another day.
Yeah, the amount of like backing that the video algorithm has on every social media website is nuts.
I agree.
Like video content gets pushed probably 10 times more than still content
Yes.
nowadays.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. To me, it's also the hardest content to make look good.
Yeah, you really need somebody who knows what they're doing, or you need to invest money into gear,
Even
No.
time.
even time. Yeah.
Just invest some time in some YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there any like YouTube videos that you would recommend? Like who's someone that you follow that you think would be useful to? This is the on the spot
For
question.
marketing stuff.
Just for like how to shoot a proper video.
Oh, there's like, you can literally like the amount of free content there is on YouTube is ridiculous. Like there's hundreds and hundreds of people who are good on YouTube. Like
Mhm.
you can look at like Peter McKinnon, or you can look at like Potato Jet or Caleb Pite from DSLR Video Shooter, or Gerald Undone, or like there's a lot of people
There's
out
a
there.
lot of-
Like you won't have problems finding information if you look for it. It's just a matter of, do you actually spend the time and research and do the work that it takes to hone your craft,
Mhm.
essentially. You know?
Yeah.
And like not everybody has time for that, and
Right.
that's okay. But
Right.
in terms of social media content and stuff like that, TikTok, you can kind of get away with not editing as heavily because
Right.
it's very geared towards smartphone content creators.
Yep.
YouTube, though, you cannot. You cannot get away with vertical video on YouTube unless it's a short, which is essentially a TikTok clone.
Right, exactly. Is
You know?
YouTube attempting to get into that space?
Yeah, and even then, like,
as well.
yeah, right. Everybody's trying to get into it because they recognize how powerful it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have any tips, do you think, that people could use?
I'd say, like, the biggest thing is use your back camera on your phone. Do not use your selfie camera because the megapixels on your selfie camera are 10 times worse. And invest a little bit of money in a microphone.
A microphone.
Doesn't matter what it is. There, you can get really, really cheap, like $30, like, microphones that you can plug into a dongle. But just audio quality is everything for video because people don't really care if the video looks like crap if the audio sounds good.
That's true.
As dumb as it sounds, like, you could have a terribly grainy video, but if the audio sounds good, people watch it. Versus if you have like a really echoey, like terrible, like staticky noise, or like whatever, people will turn off immediately.
Yep.
Now, people don't have access to things like professional lighting. Do you have any suggestions for lighting for people who are filming on a smartphone or
If
other
you have
quality equipment?
Yeah, I'd say if you have the opportunity and you get like you have windows in your house, and
Buy
you
a
wanna-
Godox.
there's a lot of cheap alternatives that you can do. Like, you can put a white bed sheet on a window, and that'll diffuse the light enough to like make it look soft and not quite as good as what we have here because there's probably like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights.
5 lights here. But just doing anything to diffuse the light, and when I say diffuse, I mean just make it softer, essentially. So making the light softer, using your back camera, getting a microphone, and just doing that will up your production significantly.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I'd say arguably next to audio, lighting is more important than a camera because
You can
if
make
you
any
know-
camera look good with
exactly.
good
If
lighting.
you know how to light, you can make anything look good, like Bryce said.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry to steal your thunder.
way to go, man. I've been rehearsing
You were
this
just
in
like-
my head.
You're just like crawling towards that point. I'm like, I'm just going to take it.
Whatever. I see how it is.
I'm just going to go in there and shoot the goal.
Rug pull.
Okay, what's next? What are we moving on to?
Do you want to move on to what type of marketing they should do?
Yeah, we've kind
For
of been
what?
talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
What's the best suited for?
video is for video. Let's talk about the three things because after you get past new business owner, once you kind of hit new business owner, you kind of have this toolbox opened to you because your budget is a little bigger, right? So you can do things like paid ads. You can do things like hire someone to make a video for you. You can do something like get a scheduler, buy some of this editing software, hire someone to work on your website. Now, with those in mind, there are three big types of marketing that you have to be aware of.
Yeah.
And then the avenue that you use
The direction.
to achieve that,
Yeah.
the direction, right, is a specific type of thing that all three of us kind of do.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say if you're looking for visibility and awareness, use
A website.
the web,
Website,
Yeah.
for
right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Use the web. Google's a frickin' phone book.
Yeah. That's like the modern day phone book,
Exactly. And if you're not in the phone book, how is anyone going to find your business?
Yeah.
Think about like back when the yellow pages were still a thing and phone books were still a thing.
They're still trying to be a thing.
Like how much money did they cost to get your ad in a phone book?
Oh, yeah.
Like think about that price in relation to advertising your Google business,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't even have to use like Google business. You can just make a website,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very important to have a website, and it's very important to have a website that functions well.
properly. Yeah.
Right.
If there's a lot of errors and stuff like that, it's just going to ruin the user experience and they're going to click off and be
Right.
like, oh, this guy has a shitty website.
Exactly.
Even a long load time. I
Yeah.
know that everybody is so ADHD nowadays. If a website takes longer than even 3 seconds to load, then you're going to lose over 80% of your traffic.
Yeah, 100%. 100% you're going to lose 80% of your traffic.
Yeah.
90% of the time.
67%.
Every time.
Every time. Do you think Jacob, that you should tailor your webpage towards desktop or mobile? That's the question.
Based on our analytics, I'm noticing that the TUDS website, ever since this redesign, has been receiving about 60% mobile traffic, which was surprising to me. But then I'm thinking, in this day and age, most people don't even have a desktop computer, right? That's something that's kind of a little bit more specialized. Most people are browsing the internet off of the thing that's in their pocket all the time, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'd say a big factor to that too is because of all of the marketing that we do on all the social medias, right?
Yeah.
Because if people are looking at social media stuff on their phone, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, nobody uses TikTok or Instagram on the computer.
No.
And if they go to the website from Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, that counts as mobile traffic.
You know what's the crazy thing to me is that most people use Twitter on their computer.
that's insane.
That made sense.
Does it? It's
Yeah.
just words.
Yeah.
It is the most mobile friendly.
No doubt.
There's no loading.
Yeah. I could see it though.
Yeah, that's
The average Twitter user is definitely a computer user.
Are you calling out Twitter users?
No, it's not a bad thing.
Are
to be
you a
computer
Twitter user?
I made a Twitter when I was like 12. So
I never got into Twitter. I couldn't. Not wordsmithy enough, I don't think.
yeah. It's kind of just like streaming into the void most of the
Yeah,
time.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Right?
I like Twitter, but it's kind of I like seeing random posts, I guess.
I agree.
So now, you got your website. Mobile is probably king. I would steer towards someone that can design your website in a mobile way.
Or in a responsive way. You don't
Yeah.
want to pigeonhole yourself just
Yeah.
specifically to having a mobile website. You want to have something that's adaptable and resizable and looks good no matter what device you have it on. Even if you're running it off of your Google Nest, for example, you want it to still look half decent.
Right.
If you're running it off of a tablet, which hardly anyone is doing, you want it to look okay.
So what are some tools for people out there who don't have a website? What would you recommend?
Well, if you don't have the time, effort, or know how to design a custom HTML website, then you can reach out to something like a service like Squarespace or even Google Pages or GoDaddy has a good CMS.
Yeah. Wix has a good free one as well for people who aren't sure if they want to invest money into it.
Yes.
Which is crazy because you definitely should. It's not that
Yeah, you
expensive.
You don't really want the giant banner at the top saying this website was created for free using Wix,
Right.
Yeah, that looks unprofessional. and
Exactly.
It makes you look cheap, for lack of a better word.
Well, Google doesn't find you well enough either.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would suggest using all of those,
Yeah.
any one of those tools to build your website.
You can literally make a website. If you buy a Google domain, they give you a free website.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like if you register your domain, you get a free website through Google Business.
Now, sometimes that part in and of itself is a scary thing.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I get a domain? Well, you just type in "get a domain."
Yeah. There's a lot there's a lot of information out
A
there.
lot of services out there. But those website builders, while they're great,
Very limited.
very limited on what you can do unless you have a little bit more technical experience.
Right.
Or you want to hire someone with a bit more technical experience.
Right, exactly. So we generally suggest that you use one of those,
So
right?
that you can edit it and do
So you
stuff
can
yourself. and
edit
not
it in
have
the
to-
future.
Yeah. Because you don't want to be locked into having to contact somebody anytime you want something changed on your website.
Exactly,
So-
Exactly.
right? If you want to change what the sale is,
Yeah.
you just want to be able to type that in,
Right.
or at least be able to figure it out. You don't have to be super tech savvy to figure it out. But there are some customizations that you can't do on those CMS builders or website builders that all it takes is Jacob to type a few babbly words
A few
into,
hundred lines of code.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden your website looks and is very much more responsive.
Yeah. One of those things too about those websites is they're very cookie cutter.
Very cookie
Which
cutter.
Yes.
Isn't a bad thing necessarily, but if you really want to stand out and make a difference, you really want to spend a little bit of money to get a professionally made custom website.
Yeah.
Exactly. Every Squarespace website looks like a Squarespace website. Every Wix website looks like a Wix website.
Yeah.
And if you want animations or anything actually cool to happen on your website, then good luck doing that through a CMS.
Yeah.
Fair
So
enough.
that's visibility and awareness on a website. Now, what about brand awareness? The best strategy for that is video. It's video.
Yeah.
You want to get
want people
your
to
name.
know. Yeah. If you want people to know who you are, you want people to see and put a name to a face, you need to use video.
And you don't need a lot of it.
No.
That's the best part about a lot of these things.
You could literally, like, you could make a video once every, like, quarter, as long as it's, like, an update video or something, you know, like, either whether it's a store showcase or, like, get to know the team or, like, anything like that. It doesn't have to be, like, this whole big, grand video, you know? It can be, like, just a small video as long as it's made well.
Right. Made well.
Yeah.
We gave you the tips earlier. Use the window, use a bed sheet,
Yeah, or shower curtain.
shower curtain, whatever you have kicking around.
Dollar store stuff
Learn.
is the best.
Learn how to do lighting. It'll make your camera look way better. Get a microphone.
We're speaking on graphic content. Can we quickly talk about logos?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm noticing a lot that a lot of people's logos, especially businesses that are just starting out, their logos don't seem like they translate very well to print or to a T-shirt design or
Don't
these
make
are
a terribly complicated one.
exactly. These are all things that are definitely important to think about. Is this logo going to look good in black and white? Is this logo going to look good 60 feet tall? Is this logo going to look good like an inch by an inch, right? Like
Readability is
readability is key.
the biggest thing with logos. I would totally agree.
Yeah. Like, we've seen a lot of,
Terrible logos.
Crazy
I was going to
logos.
say interesting, but
I'm going to say terrible.
okay, Bryce.
Terrible logos. If they're too busy, they're too hard to do anything but put on.
Well, and it's just like too many
digital.
colors, too intricate. Like, you know, it's never going to be scalable. You
Right.
know? And it's like, hopefully they didn't pay somebody for that. I'm assuming most of the time.
That's what Fiverr's for.
Yeah. Oh, Fiverr. Don't get me started on Fiverr.
Think about all the successful logos, right? You can draw them in 30 seconds, right? McDonald's, Facebook, Nike.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about a minimalistic, easily readable logo.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree. You can't get away from that. I don't think it's the first thing you need to do though.
No, I think it comes after.
That's a later thing.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Because you can.
I know
you can
we
get
started.
away.
I know we started with a logo.
Yeah, but
First
that's because that's what we do. And
We like logos,
I like
guys.
to make logos. So
Okay.
what's
So that's
the
brand
best-
awareness.
Yeah, what's the best thing for engagement?
Well, it's social
Slash-
media,
Yeah.
100%. Social media, that's where you get to talk face to face, one on one.
Build your audience.
Shake those babies' digital hands. Give them some candy. Do that thing where you talk and they talk back to you.
I don't
Like
talk back.
conversate.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to build your following.
Yeah.
And you're going to create a lot of fans, really.
That's essentially what it is. You know, like there's something to be said about the parasocial relationship between
What's the word I was looking for?
brands and their following, right?
Yeah.
Because with those brands, like you want to make content that people like, right? And people want to like your content. So there's a relationship there.
People love that. People love to hit that like button.
Yeah.
Exactly. After a while, the content becomes part of your lifestyle and part of your identity almost.
Yeah, your self-brand, you could say.
Self-brand.
Yeah.
Self-branding.
The thing with social media, though, is it is by far the most intensive platform, you know?
Time-wise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
I
if you
agree.
really want to grow, what do you have to do, Bryce?
You have to consistently do these two things for sure, which is make content, right? So people have something to devour on a daily basis. Not even on a daily basis. You could do it 3 times a week.
Yeah.
you'll still get somewhere.
You don't have to make a post every single day of every single month.
I know Gary Vee says you do, but
Don't listen to Gary Vee.
Shane's a big Gary Vee fan.
Don't listen to Gary Vee.
And then the second thing you do, and in my opinion, is the most important and hardest thing to consistently do, is get out there and engage, and not just like other people's posts.
Yeah.
Comment on other
meaningful
people's
stuff
posts.
too. You can't just go out there and
Don't just
great.
comment emojis.
Yeah.
Fire emojis are great.
Yeah.
It's a point across, I guess.
if you spend a little extra time making a personalized comment, I guarantee that it'll mean a hell of a lot more than a couple emojis.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And because of that, people in the comments will see, oh wow, this person really cares. They want to grow this community,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's imperative.
I know to us as marketers, it's super meaningful when we receive well thought out and actually detailed comments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody likes to see their work appreciated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree. And with social media, if you're not engaging, you're not helping yourself in the algorithm,
Right.
right? If you're just putting stuff out there and hoping people will like it, I mean, sometimes it works. A lot of that is rigged. It's like lottery. You're winning the lottery.
There's no way to go viral. There's no surefire method.
No.
It's just luck.
Right.
At the end of the day, there's no telling. Like TikTok, you could make a 3-second video of you throwing a slice of cheese on your dog,
Right.
and it'll go viral.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that it's there's no reason.
It got picked up by the algorithm and you got lucky.
Yeah,
Right.
for the most part.
You never want to bank on having your stuff go viral.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You can't hire a marketing firm to go viral.
Right.
But the things that you can do, that you can control, is the consistency that you do it with and the effort that you put into it. And over time, those things will take you very far.
Yeah,
Don't get discouraged.
Exactly. Effort and
Exactly.
consistency are always rewarded with a good payoff. So,
Yeah. It just takes a little time, a
Yep.
lot of time
yep.
sometimes, right? So, yeah, I would say spend 10, 15 minutes a day. If you think that you're going to spend 3 hours making a video, spend an hour making a crappy video.
That's it.
Spend an hour making a less than 3 hour good video, and just comment for
Yeah.
the next 2 hours. Go find your audience.
Exactly.
TikTok, and TikTok's really good, in my opinion, for finding your audience, because you start with the thing that you're interested in.
Yep.
So construction or cakes or food,
Composite decking.
composite dinosaurs.
Composite decking.
Composite dinosaur decking. And then TikTok just starts feeding you stuff.
Yeah, it picks you up, and it just it's like a little bit of an echo chamber, I'd say.
Yeah.
It shows you everything related to what it thinks you'll like. And
Right.
because you're in that industry, or say you're following stuff that's similar to what you're doing, you can see, number one, what other people are doing, and number two, you can see more of
Mhm.
what you should be doing.
And with TikTok, their algorithm is very responsive,
That's a little scary.
It's
but
bonkers.
right? So on TikTok, it's very important to like stuff to help the algorithm tell you what you want to see.
yeah. It's like most of the time people don't even know what they want, but TikTok knows better than they do somehow.
Yeah.
So
So it's a good way to define your audience, I think.
yeah.
The
Do we want to go over the questions?
questions. Oh, there's questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
We'll just do them quick.
Okay. So so let's go for the web first, actually.
Yep.
So now that we've kind of talked you through all the main avenues, as a small business owner, you can put a little money into each of them, or I would suggest probably putting most of your money into your website in the beginning, then slowly moving through them and adding them on, stacking them, but website first, then I would do video, et cetera, et cetera. Well, let's just say you own a large business.
Yeah.
You can do all of these at once, right? But you're a little frugal, right? You're like, maybe I don't want to spend money. I already have a Facebook page. Why do I need a website?
Because likely you're not going to be a large business without a website. You haven't even gotten to that point yet if you don't have a website.
I'm special.
Okay, so
he's the outlier.
So you're the one outlier who's doing business entirely through Facebook. Then maybe a good reason to have a website would be to sell your product through your website. There's things like CMS, right?
E-commerce? Is that what you're talking about?
That's the word I'm looking
Okay. E-commerce.
There's things like e-commerce, right? You can directly list your entire inventory, sell it, do all of your order fulfillment directly from even, say, your house, if that's where you operate your business on, if it's one of those online businesses.
Yeah, I agree. I think don't get a Facebook page. It'd be better to not get a Facebook page, although Facebook is another version of a phone book.
Yeah, like
Get a website.
Just get a website.
Just get a website.
Just make it easy. Like, yeah, sure, your aunties and your uncles are on like Facebook, but the new generation is shifting away from Facebook.
I have my one tip about websites is the website name. So in my opinion, your website name nowadays, because there are so many websites out there, should always be 3 words. Why? For one thing, it's never taken, right? The longer the thing is, the easier it is to get that domain. And it's also more memorable if it's closer to a phrase.
Yeah.
Right?
I have a question.
Go for it.
What if I want to name my website something that already exists?
Oof. Are you a corporation?
No.
Well, then
You should
don't.
affix it with but better.
But better. Yeah, I don't think I would try and like steer clear from that unless you like are really well established in those areas.
Yeah, because you're always going to be competing with those other people. Like, even if you have a similar name, you really want it to be your own thing. Like, you don't want to be mistaken for somebody else.
That's true.
Because
Exactly.
the first time you're mistaken it's going to be a nightmare.
Right.
Let's say someone has a similar name to you and they're in a similar field. So someone's trying to find you online, and then all of a sudden, because you have the same name as a competitor, they find your competitor instead, and guess who the potential customer is doing business with now?
Yeah.
And think about how much money you'd waste by like advertising your name and then people finding a different business with your name.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I agree.
You're just providing free advertising for someone else then.
For somebody bigger than you.
That's
most
true.
of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would try and like stay away from those types of names.
Even if they're in like a foreign country or something.
Yes. I agree. Unless my caveat is it goes back to the longer URL, right? Unless you're gonna, in my opinion, it is always better to have a long URL. I say this and I realize that
TUDS.ca.
we have a really tiny URL.
But it made sense. Nobody else has TUDS.ca.
Yes. And the ultimatedeckshop.com still goes to TUDS.ca.
Yeah.
That's the other thing you can do is you can buy multiple website domains. You don't have to be stuck into one.
Exactly. For example, ours is tudsmedia.ca, but then also we have tudsmedia.com, which redirects to .ca so that there's no confusion.
Yeah, exactly. But if you were to have an abbreviated website, like the shorter doesn't always mean the better.
No.
Right?
Right.
So
Get both. Do redirects.
yeah, I would do a very long, I would prefer
Domains.
a long domain.
Domains are very cheap.
Yeah.
99 cents.
Yeah. Like you can swing the domain. Like
Yeah.
that's the easiest part of getting a website is getting your domain.
Honestly, buy like 20 domains. Have them all redirect to your website.
Well, even domains are a good way to get onto search engines, right?
So I have another question for you, Bryce.
Oh, okay.
Why don't I just make social media posts myself?
Because it's time consuming. Because it's really hard to always come up with that content consistently. It's not that I don't think you can do it, and I think you should be a huge part of the social media process if you're going to hire it out, right? You need to be there all the time. You need to be constantly dealing with the agency that you've hired if you're going to hire it out to do those social media posts. I do think you should do them. And also think of your agency or whoever you're going to hire as support for you.
Yeah, think of them as like somebody to take the load off your back.
Yes.
You know, like it's manageable if you do like a few posts a week yourself or something.
Right.
You know? But if you're doing every single day, every single post,
yes,
like, you don't. At the end of the day, it just comes down to time.
Use the
time.
You're gonna burn yourself out too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Use the agency as the main poster, and then you come in and you sprinkle the cherries.
Yeah, you sprinkle in like your
personal
voice brand.
Yeah.
Your voice, yeah. Right? So I think that's definitely the best way to look at it.
Yeah.
And a good agency will do their best to try and capture your main voice as well.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even usually have to worry about an agency not being able to match your voice.
No, I agree. I totally agree. The spontaneity really helps, though, round out everything, right? Yep. Gives a face to everything. Right. So I would suggest, like I said, doing your own posts and using an agency as kind of a backup to take the load off of you. Mm-hmm. Do we have any more video questions?
There's one last one, and these are hypothetical questions if you haven't guessed already. But this question is: everyone has a smartphone nowadays, so why should you hire somebody to film stuff for you?
Yeah, there you go.
You don't have to hire somebody to film stuff for you. You know, like we were saying, there's definitely a lot you can do for yourself, but creating consistent professional content takes a lot of time. Like, I edit all the videos, I shoot all the videos here at TUDS, and I will guarantee you that the amount of time that I've spent editing completely eclipses how long I spend shooting.
Oh, yes. Editing is the time suck of making videos.
Yeah. Like on average for a 5 to 10 minute video, you can expect upwards of an hour to 2 hours editing, right? And people always have this misconception where they think, oh yeah, a 1 minute video, that's like 30 minutes, right? You can edit that super quick. No. Right, exactly. The shorter the video, the harder it is, because you have to fit and cram so much information into such a small space. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's a very common misconception. The other thing too is editing programs are expensive.
Yes.
For good ones.
Very expensive.
Like the Adobe Suite. How much does the Adobe Suite cost?
Personally, an Adobe Suite subscription is around $90 Canadian a month.
Yeah.
Monthly.
And so like, think about that. Like that's just for the opportunity to edit.
Yes.
That doesn't include, they don't edit for you.
They don't edit it for you.
And that includes the time that you have to spend learning how to edit if you don't know. If you're fresh and you don't know how to do anything, it saves so much time to just hire somebody who knows what they're doing, who has, number two, the big thing, has equipment that is professional.
Yes, totally.
Yes, You can make stuff with your smartphone. Yes, it's possible. It can be done. But it's not going to look anything like a professional cinema quality camera.
No.
You know?
Not at all.
At the end of the day, when you hire an ad agency, like your time input's reduced and your quality is substantially higher. Mm-hmm. You know, like it's just, I don't know. To me, it's a no-brainer, but of course it's a no-brainer to me because that's what I do.
Right. Exactly. The money thing is always the hard question to deal with.
You don't even have to do video like every week. Like you could do it quarterly and make enough content in a couple days to fill you for the rest of the month.
Yes.
That's the big thing, is having somebody who knows what they're doing, who can get that much content out of that little time.
Right. Exactly.
Quality content too. Right?
Quality.
That's me. Quality Kyler.
Quality Kyler over here.
Oh, damn.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Or I think we're kind of pushing the time limit.
We pretty much covered everything here.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much good.
Well, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Hope you guys got some value out of this. We might be doing a few more.
We
of
will
these.
be doing a few more of these.
Okay.
We
Yes,
will be. We're gonna do a few more podcast takeovers. This is kind of a grand overview. The next bunch
They'll be more
in the series, they will be
specified.
way more specified than this. So, yeah, give me that air horn, and we will see you guys next week.
Media.